am joined by Mimi Nichol with Love's Arm Outreach. Mimi, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
For people that are watching that may not be familiar, with the ministry and with your organization, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, we work with women in addiction-related prostitution, and our goal is to build transformative relationships with them,
Right.
Based on trust and respect that offer them ways out of the cycle of shame and destruction into the community of grace. We are Christ-centered.
Right, so
ministry.
you are right here in Chattanooga too, is
We
where
are.
your home base
We are.
is. I always love to hear people's stories and kind of how they got started, what brought you, or how did, kind of take me through, how you got involved in this.
Well, I'm the founder of the ministry, and it began really 11 years ago, and I began teaching inductive Bible study classes at Silverdale Correctional Facility. And after those classes, we started an aftercare group for women who were coming out so they could continue to grow and to learn how to live life differently. And in that group one night, one of the girls had been on the streets, and she had been addicted to crack cocaine and prostituting herself. And she just said one night, I want to go back out to these streets and let them know Jesus loves them, but I'm afraid to go by myself. And I said, well, I'll go with you.
Right.
And that's how the outreach began, and that was in late 2005, and we began going out to the streets and ministering to the women.
And you have a lot of volunteers that help you to make this possible, right?
Well, we now have over 50 volunteers from 17 local churches that not only go out to the streets with us, but they function in the other program models that we have as well.
Well, and I know that with safety would have to be a concern. Do you travel in groups? You tend to...
We do. We do everything we do in the ministry is done with 2 or more.
Right.
No one is functioning outside of that model, and so we do have guidelines that cover the work that we do, and we're always in a car. We limit 5 to the number of volunteers we take out at a time. We never take more than 5, and we never take less than 3.
Well, as you're ministering to to these girls, and as you are talking with them, do you find a common kind of denominator that kind of what takes them? Is it a lot of times financial, or trying to fill voids in their lives? Do you see kind of a common
Well, they have a lot of
problem?
complex issues going on, life struggles going on, but primarily 95% or more of them were victims of childhood sexual abuse.
Right.
So we found the main thing they have in common is post-traumatic stress disorder. And many people with that post-traumatic stress disorder end up medicating themselves. And so they get trapped in this cycle of addiction to medicate the chaos of life,
Right.
and end up just in more chaos and end up
So
having to
taking-
prostitute themselves to pay for the drug.
Absolutely. Well, take me a little bit through the process. You said there's a step process program that you kind of go through. Is that right with these girls?
Yes, ma'am, and it begins with the outreach itself. We go out and do street outreach with the women. We begin building relationships with them. So some of the women we've been in relationship with for 10 and 11 years in various ways. And then we still have our classes at Silverdale Correctional Facility twice a month, and many times they come to those classes, so we get to continue growing our relationships with them.
Right.
After that, we have a 12-step recovery group based on the Life Recovery Bible that they can come into and continue in their recovery. And we're in the process of opening a residential recovery home. Holistic residential recovery home.
So that's kind of
Rahab's
a
Rest.
goal then for you.
That is a goal, and
Right.
we're getting there.
And you have a fundraiser too. Let's mention that really quickly before our time is up here, because that is a good way that people could also help support if they're watching this today and want to get involved.
Right, and we have an awareness event called Songs of Deliverance.
Okay.
We are trying to get local churches to welcome us in to do this event, and we will be having it on the 12th of March at New City Fellowship, and it is a very informative open panel discussion with 3 women whose lives have been transformed, who have come out of various levels of sexual abuse and addiction themselves. And
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here and just kind of sharing more about this organization. They do have an event coming up, like she mentioned. You can check them out at their website, and they also have a Facebook page. And we'll be right back with more Let's Chat.